Welcome back to Avery Knows Ball. I'm so glad that you're here. We have a lot to talk about today. Avery Knows Ball is your one-stop shop for the nuanced, data-driven stories that the mainstream media is not telling you. These are the things that you need to know if you want to have deeper conversations and cultivate the passion as a fan, a strategist, a fantasy football player, all the things that we love about the NFL. I am here to deliver the most important stories to you. Now, yes, we just had Retro Jersey Week, but now we are unofficially in Revenge Week. What if I told you that in one single Sunday, we witnessed the most statistically brutal revenge tour in league history? Now, 3 games completely shattered everything that we thought we knew about the 2025 season. And now, what if I told you? These were not just upsets, they were warning shots to every expert strategist who thought they could rely on the predictability of this season. I'm about to show you how Week 5 exposed the biggest assumption that the NFL has been trying to talk to us about, and why these 3 revenge stories from this weekend prove that nothing, and really nothing, is guaranteed in the league in 2025. So let's start with the most shocking demolition job of the weekend. The Houston Texans didn't just beat the Baltimore Ravens, they destroyed them 44-10 in what became the most lopsided road victory in Texans franchise history, and on the other side of the coin, the most lopsided home loss in Ravens history. But here's what makes this revenge story so insane. Exactly 284 days ago, these same Ravens destroyed the Texans 31-2 on Christmas Day. Lamar Jackson threw for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns while rushing for 87 yards. The Ravens, back on Christmas Day, outrushed the Houston Texans 251 yards to just 38. It was so dominant that C.J. Stroud looked like he'd never played quarterback before. Fast forward now to this last Sunday, and C.J. Stroud just flipped the script in a very devastating way. 23 of 27 passes completed, 244 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. But the real story to me is not just Stroud's performance. That's a story for another day. But it's more about what's happening to Baltimore's identity. The Ravens were without Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, Patrick Ricard, 4 Pro Bowl players. But the thing that also adds to this is that this was not just about injuries, because it never is. Baltimore looked completely unprepared, unmotivated, and outcoached. And I feel confident saying that it's not just about injuries. When you look at the San Francisco 49ers, all of their starters except for 2 are injured currently on the offense, and majority of their defensive Pro Bowlers are gone. That team still managed to become 4-1 as of right now. And so to me, injuries are not just an excuse for getting stomped by a different team. Let's go back to the Ravens here. Cooper Rush threw 3 interceptions. The Ravens managed to they gained 207 total yards, I believe. Derrick Henry, their best statistically remaining player, was held to 33 yards on the ground. He's having a lot of frustrations right now. The Texans scored on their first 8 possessions before pulling their starters. Whew. That's pitiful. Here's the most damning statistic. The Ravens are now 4-10 without Lamar Jackson. Since 2018, 4-10. Averaging just 16.6 points per game. That is not just dependence on one player. That's an organizational failure. When your entire system collapses because one guy gets hurt, you don't have a championship level program. And now we have to, once again, compare to the 49ers. We've lost Brock Purdy. We've lost Brandon Ayuk. Juwan Jennings is week by week. These games do not lean on star players. Now, let's talk about the most important performance by a young quarterback this season, Drake Maye. He did not just beat the Buffalo Bills. He had a revenge tour. He announced himself as the future of the AFC East in the most hostile environment possible. The Bills entered Week 5 as the last undefeated team in the NFL. They were 4-0. Josh Allen, he's been playing like an MVP, and they looked like the class of the AFC champions for about 7 hours on Sunday. Buffalo was the only perfect team left after Philly lost to Denver. Then Drake Maye happened with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock. Down by 3 points, the second-year quarterback engineered an 11-play, 71-yard drive that culminated in a 52-yard field goal with 15 seconds remaining. But that's not how the game was won. He won it in a particularly special way, putting together that last drive with the combination of the offensive play calling, the kickers, and backup quarterback excellence. Stephon Diggs in that very same game caught 10 passes for 146 yards. He's returned to his former team in Buffalo, the city where he was once as beloved as Josh Allen, and he was also Josh Allen's favorite target. The Bills traded Diggs after the 2023 season, and he's making them pay for it in a painful way. That 12-yard catch while Maye was being dragged down, it was pretty poetic. Maye finished 22 of 30 for 273 yards. Now, something really impressive to me is he had just one incompletion in the second half, going 13 of 14 when the game was on the line. His performance under pressure, pretty elite. Who expected that from him? Because I sure didn't. But this wasn't just about one game. This was about the shift of the entire balance of the power in the AFC East. The Patriots are now just one game behind Buffalo with a crucial head-to-head victory. Drake Maye, he's shown, he can go toe-to-toe with Josh Allen, and that, to me, has to change how we look at New England's future. We've seen decades-long dynasties of New England greatness, and I'm starting to sense a little bit of that on the horizon. And then there's another story that I covered earlier this week. Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos becoming the first team since 2018 to defeat a defending Super Bowl championship after trailing by 14 or more points entering the fourth quarter on the road. Cherry on top for that one. The Eagles led 17-3 entering the final quarter. They had looked pretty dominant all season and pretty dominant for the first half of that game, I'll say. Their defense looked pretty impenetrable. They were at home. Everything suggested this game was over. Then Bo Nix came out of nowhere and scored 18 unanswered points. But here's the revenge angle that makes this story perfect for the theme. Vic Fangio, the Eagles defensive coordinator, was the guy who drafted Bo Nix in Denver. He coached him, developed him, got to know him. He knew his tendencies better than anyone. And the fact that Nix just absolutely torched Fangio's defense in a very pressure-packed situation, that is the definition of revenge. And Vic Fangio, the Eagles defensive coordinator, was the guy who drafted Bo Nix in Denver. He coached him, developed him, got to know him. He knew his tendencies better than anyone. And the fact that Nix just absolutely torched Fangio's defense in a very pressure-packed situation, that is the definition of revenge. And the Eagles have entered this season as defending Super Bowl championships with championship-level expectations. They were supposed to be the class of the NFC. One fourth quarter collapse later, and suddenly they are looking a lot more vulnerable to the teams that are facing them in the next 10 weeks. Their defense has been exposed, and the entire NFC playoff picture has been scrambled. So what do these three revenge stories have in common? They are exposing the biggest, and most poor assumption that the media has been telling us about the 2025 season, that experience and pedigree matter more than preparation, execution, and team synchrony. Think about it. The Ravens were supposed to be a championship contender with Lamar Jackson and a veteran core. The Bills were supposed to be the AFC's best team with Josh Allen and established stars. The Eagles were defending champs with proven players and championship experience, but instead, we're watching Stroud just demolish the Ravens' defense. We're watching Drake Maye outplay Josh Allen in crunch time. And Mr. Clutch quarterback is stepping aside to let this new quarterback make waves. And thirdly, Bo Nix, he's making a championship caliber Eagles team look ordinary, if I dare say. All three of these quarterbacks in their first or second seasons, and they just schooled a team with decades of playoff experience. This is just a total flip of the coin, a total power imbalance in the scales. And this is not just a coincidence. This is the reality of the NFL. Young quarterbacks are entering the league more NFL ready than they ever have been before, which puts them more quickly on an elite level. Sean Payton's system in Denver maximizes Bo Nix's strengths. The Patriots offensive coordinator is putting Drake Maye in a position to finally succeed, and the Texans have finally gotten an offensive coordinator in Nick Caley who knows how to use this young quarterback, CJ Stroud. These three revenge games just changed most everything about how we should view the rest of the 2025 season. The Ravens might be done, sitting at 1-4 with a laundry list of injuries and a major lack of offensive identity without Jackson. The Patriots, they're suddenly looking like legit contenders in the AFC, back like the Patriots that we used to know. Drake Maye has shown he can beat elite teams in primetime, and that changes everything. They are not rebuilding anymore. They're real competitors. The Broncos have proven, okay, yeah, they belong in the playoff conversation. Bo Nix isn't just managing games and getting out of tricky spots. He's winning them now in big moments against the best teams. But the bigger picture is this. If these three upsets can happen in one weekend, what else is possible? What other sure things are about to be exposed? What other young teams are going to embarrass veteran contenders? I mean, we can count on injuries happening, but we can't count on this chaotic season being predictable in any way. And like I said, chaos, it's to be expected the rest of the season. And that's exactly what makes it beautiful. Experience isn't guaranteed. Pedigree, it matters, but it's not the end-all be-all. The only thing that matters is who shows up on Sunday and executes. Week 5 just proved that everything we thought we knew and could guarantee and bet on in this NFL season is not promised. The revenge tour is a theme of this week, but the overarching goal of revenge is just getting started. And I have a feeling that these 3 games were just the beginning of some younger teams upsetting complacent veteran teams. Now, what upset shocked you the most? Are you guys buying into the Patriots as legitimate AFC East contenders? Do you think the Ravens season is over? Let me know in the comments, and I want to have these conversations with you. And I hesitate to even, come out here and make a statement to say that to try to predict what is unpredictable, because I just spent 10 minutes talking about how nothing is promised. But what a joy it is to be a fan and to be able to look at the games and the statistics and the players and the injuries and the coaching staff and coaching schemes and figure out what we think might happen. That's such a joy and a privilege of being a fan. I love to talk about it with you guys. So let me know what was most shocking to you this week. I'm really, really curious what we're thinking about Bo Nix. I'm curious. Yes, I understand that he's, got a coaching staff that fits his best abilities, but I feel like there's something more. So Denver fans chime in here. Ravens fans chime in. What do you feel about your season? Are you feeling hopeless? Are you already looking forward to who your draft pick is going to be in the NFL draft, or are you feeling hopeful? Let me know. And in the meantime, thank you for watching. I'm so glad that you're here. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I can't wait to watch this weekend's game with you. Okay, bye.